Welcome to Q&A number 2. I always like to do a little spiel at the beginning of the video, so skip to this time if you want to skip my little intro. So a few things, I've been trying to be more involved, or I guess more engaging on YouTube, so I've been responding and reacting to a lot more comments lately, and I think it's a good way to interact with everyone, so make sure to leave comments if you want some interaction. And unfortunately, my sister managed to delete all my responses to the Instagram story where I polled for questions, so I won't be able to answer any of those questions, and there were quite a few actually really good ones, but I'll be sure to poll on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook in the future and save the responses so I can get some really cool questions on these videos. And also, I'm really bad at social media, so I don't know how to view responses to Facebook stories, so I'll just make Facebook posts in the future. And as always, my responses for questions tend toward the shorter side, so if there's a response that you want a more elaborate response on, potentially another video, make sure to leave a comment down below. Boop. And I read questions exactly as they are written. This is partially just me poking fun, so don't be offended if I read a typo or a grammar mistake that you made. Okay, now on to the questions. First question, will Dana actually upload Q&As monthly? Here I am, surprise. I've been actually keeping an upload schedule lately. It's on my channel and I talk about it a little bit in my video, so I won't say too much about it, but I've been doing more regular uploads, which I think is good. Consistency is good. Question 2, or I guess not really a question, but a suggestion in this case, is move the camera up or the microphone down. We want to see your face, not the mic. In this case, I've removed the pop filter and I've changed the angling a little bit, so let me know how this Q&A looks and sounds, and thanks for the recommendation. I'm always looking for ways to improve my videos. Question 3, best thing to learn after completing full OLL, can't decide between COLL or winter variation or other subsets. In general, I think it's not a good idea to learn an entire subset at once because it only focuses on one part of your solve, whereas in general for improvement in cubing you should be focusing on all aspects of your solves. So potentially after just learning OLL, I think practicing OLL and PLL for a bit, getting those down really solid, and then learning bits and pieces of COLL, better F12s, and general algorithms and tips together so that all aspects of your solve can improve instead of, like if you learn just ZBLL, only your last layer would improve. When you started cubing and got addicted, we are your parents annoyed by that, and please post another how to become a better cuber video. I started cubing when I was around 10 years old, so like most 10-year-olds, I was annoying, but in general, I don't think my parents were super annoyed. They've been super supportive throughout my cubing journey. There are ways that I may have been annoying, including like bugging them to bring me to competitions, to buy cubes, and spending too much time cubing, which definitely happened at the beginning. But this has changed over the years as I've gotten older and matured, and I like to think that I'm not annoying anymore. And also, I've released more videos in the series. Check it out. I think the link should be there. I'm still not sure, but I think it's up there. Question 5, how to efficiently memorize algorithms. I think the key thing here is gradually. You can't cram algorithms, and the best way to learn is one algorithm a day or so, and make sure that you have that alg down before you learn more. A really bad analogy is that algs are like your personal arsenal of weapons against scrambles, and you need to make sure each weapon is the strongest it can be before adding more. Learning more algorithms doesn't help you if you aren't already great at the ones you know. In fact, it can cause more pauses, hesitations, as well as sometimes just executing the wrong algorithm because you're not familiar with the case, which I've done before. Could you make my day with a useless gift? Question 7. How many Megaminx algs, OLL, and PLL do you know? I know this many because I still use beginner's last layer. It's worked for me so far, but if I ever actually wanted to practice Megaminx seriously, I will learn real algs and practice them, but at least thus far, I've never really wanted to get significantly faster, but who knows? And if you want to see how effective or ineffective, you can think of it that way, the beginner's method is on Megaminx, check out my PB here. But in all seriousness, if you plan on getting serious at Megaminx, definitely learn algs. I'm just not there yet and know zero algs. Question 8. What do you suggest to new speedcuber on what they're thinking to keep them motivated to speedcube? Since speedcubing isn't a requirement like school is, all the motivation comes from the cuber. The things that have kept me cubing are the community, the experiences, and the friends I've made. If lack of improvement is what is demotivating, this is completely normal as all cubers reach like roadblocks at certain barriers, whether it be sub 2 minutes or sub 2 seconds. And at these points, it's important to keep in mind that this is completely normal and expected, and to keep practicing and learning new things. Have you watched Derpy Cuber's sub 5 single on Squan? If so, what was your reaction to it? Yes, I did see it. I don't personally practice square one at all, so I thought it was very impressive, but I literally have nothing to compare it with. So to be honest, I don't know the state of the square one community nowadays. All I know is that I know how to solve one, but not much beyond that. That'd be super cool though. Question 10. Do you plan your first pair in inspection, and is planning your first pair necessary to become sub 10? I usually plan my first pair in inspection. Sometimes if my cross is really whack, I'll just track my first pair if I'm not able to see how to do it past the cross, but I'm usually able to plan the first pair and sometimes 2 pairs in inspection. It's definitely not necessary in becoming sub 10. In fact, I don't think there's any one thing that can make you sub 10. It's a mix of improving at every aspect of your solve, so it's kind of hard to narrow down one thing that would make someone sub 10 or not sub 10. Question 11. Favorite food and drink? It's really hard to narrow down one specific food, but I really like curry and pasta in all of its forms, like lasagna. For drinks, I don't really drink much besides water and milk, so I'll go with that. Can you solve the 3x3 blindfolded? In theory, I can, as in I know the method and I know the algs, but I've never actually tried to do it. For some reason, I've just never really gotten into blind. Question 13. How many ZBLLs do you know? At this current second, day, week, year, blah blah blah, aka right now in this moment in time, I know 110 ZBLLs, but I'm always learning more. Question 14. Any intention to do a live? I've never really thought about this, but I'd be down to do a YouTube live at some point. Comment down below if this is something you guys want or don't want to see, and what you want to see during it. Question 15. Are you Chinese, and do you have a crush on J-Perm? Yes, I am Chinese, and I don't really know who J-Perm is, so no. Question 16. What is the part you like about cubing? And I get this question a lot in different forms, and I think I always give the same answer, but it has to be the community, experiences, and friends that I've made over the years. I really wouldn't trade them for anything in the world. Do you do Scube? I can solve one, but I don't really do it. Scube is one of the events that I don't particularly care for, or I'm just not interested in practicing and improving in. I know it wasn't asked, but also included in this list are 2x2, square one, clock, and Megaminx. What camera you use? I actually don't use any fancy cameras. I just use my phone, which is a Samsung Galaxy S9. I mostly use my phone and sometimes my GoPro, which is actually pretty old at this point. It's a GoPro Hero 4 Silver, I think it's called, so it's kind of old. Definitely looking to potentially upgrade that sometime in the future. Question 19. Are you going to be cubing for the rest of your life, or are you going to change paths and achieve a different goal to be where you think you are successful? I'm always stumped by questions that are along the lines of, what do you think X will look like in Y number of years? As they are quite existential, and the future is obviously unpredictable. I mean, look at where we are now. After all, roughly 10 years ago when I started cubing and you asked me this question, I would never have said, the world will be in a pandemic in 10 years. So honestly, no clue. For the foreseeable future, I will keep cubing as I enjoy the challenge and love the experiences, memories, and friends that I've made over the past decade due to cubing. As for the whole paths part, the question makes it sound like cubing is my full-time job, which it definitely is not, so I don't really have an answer for that. Question, or I should say poem, 20. Roses are red, violet are blue, there is always a female better than you. Cool poem. Question 21. What kind of music do you like? Habla español. I think my main categories of music that I listen to are pop, classical, jazz, and musicals. In fact, right now the musical I'm super obsessed with is Beetlejuice. It's so good. Question 22. What is your favorite thing to do besides cubing? In life things I like to do, mostly sleeping and eating. Okay, you were talking about hobbies. In that case, I also like to do gymnastics, watch TV and movies, run, read, and program. Question 23. How are you? Aw, thanks for asking. Obviously, things here referring to the state of the universe could be better, but all things considered, I'm well. I've been sleeping, reading, exercising, and relaxing more, so I think that's helped me be happier overall, though I do miss school and my friends every day. Question 24. Is the answer to this question no? Potentially. Question 25. Which application do you use when you practice and count your time with computer? I use CS Timer to time my solves, and I really like it. I've started doing longer sessions to track my progress over time and note time and days where for some reason I tend to solve worse. For example, I generally am slower at cubing late into the night, which totally makes sense as I'm getting tired and I'm starting to lose concentration. Question 26. Is English your first language? I actually learned Chinese and English at the same time when I was little. Question 27. How long do you think cubing will last? A few decades, past your lifespan, centuries, maybe even longer? Again, this is quite an existential question, but I really have no idea. Cubing has changed so much in the past 38 years, and even just looking at the past few years or the last decade, cubing has grown and evolved so much, it's really impossible to say where cubing will be even 5 years from now. Obviously, I hope cubing continues to grow, but I really don't know. Just to put out an answer to this question, let's just say that cubing will last for 183.57 more years. Do you own and or solve any non-WCA puzzles? I actually have quite a few non-WCA puzzles, such as the Gear Cube, Rex Cube, Babylon Tower, 3x3x4, and a few others, but I don't really solve them, I just have them for fun, I guess. Question 29. How do you sanitize your cubes during quarantine? I don't sanitize my cubes because, especially now in quarantine, I'm the only one who uses them, but normally at competitions, I'll wipe off my cubes with a rag to get any grease or sweat off of them. Last question, question 30. Do you speak any other languages? I do. I actually speak English, Chinese, and French. 我希望你们喜欢看这个视频. S'il te plaît, regardez mes autres vidéos ici. And leave any questions you may have down below. See you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, and subscribe for the latest content.